What's it like to be chased by beauties from other worlds? My name is Wu Yao. I used to live a plain life, until the appearance of this beautiful woman from another world completely disrupted my life. First, I was seduced by this seductive spider, and then being molested by a snake woman. Now a sensitive bee has emerged. All this is because I have a special physique. In order to get me, they will do anything. They ignore other people's lives and act recklessly. Compared to these fairies, Zaij is more reliable, driven by anger. I decided to make a contract with him and become his peerless weapon. But who knew this guy was so useless? In such a high-energy atmosphere, it was so embarrassing, seeing us who couldn't draw the sword and froze in place. In the wind and rain, and mocking words came straight to us. At this critical moment, fortunately, Shiji remembered in time. Maybe it was the wrong position to draw the sword. Maybe I'm a bit different. The position of drawing the sword is so strange. With Shiji drawing the sword successfully, I felt like my body was being drained again. I was in the time of Sage. I could only watch the snake tail rolling towards me. I was terrified. But the next second, a flash of sword light in the field. With a swish, the snake tail was cut off. The wind girl swooping over saw the scene, was obviously taken aback. Taking advantage of this gap, the sword light flashed again. This sword cut through the wind woman's hand, and the wind thorn in her hand, and hit the wind girl in the chest. Until then, Shiji finally let go of his hanging heart, and sat on the ground tiredly. At this moment, I suddenly sat up, sitting up and saying in a deep voice, "Should you comfort me first?" But suddenly, a spider web appeared in the air, and directly covered. It was the familiar figure again, and a familiar gesture. The next second, two swords fell from the sky, which directly pierced the two seriously injured women. The dying snake girl. She could only look at the attacker with astonishment and anger. Took away her spirit jade, but she was powerless. I was ashamed to be together with Zusi. Shiji and I weren't any better. We could only watch Bichi approach, provoking us in front of us, saying childish, "If you had stabbed me back then, wouldn't there be so much trouble?" At this moment, a flash of light suddenly appeared in Shige's mouth, which almost scared me to death. The next moment, the spider silk snapped. Before I could react, I fell backward on my back. I got up with a blush on my face. I roared, "What do you want to do?" At this time, Shiji was also confused. He didn't know why the sword suddenly appeared. Why am I so angry? But Bichi on the side laughed. She said with a smile, "This guy, I found him with my charm." Sure enough, as I expected, in a flash, he said with a gloomy face that the game is over. "I will take your spirit jade and this interesting big sword." The next second, Bichi suddenly drew his sword and slashed. The sword light directly slashed at Shiji, who hadn't reacted. On closer inspection, Bichi was surrounded by spiritual domains. This sword actually merged the power of 3 spiritual fields. After being hit by this sword, Shiji directly lost his resistance. He said feebly, "It seems that only by destroying the passage to stop him." Then Shiji explained that the boundary gate is the only channel connecting to worlds. If the channel is destroyed halfway, then Bichi will be forced to leave. So can you try harder? Make the sword bigger. What the hell? Can you give me a mental preparation before pulling it out? Just as my body was drained again, I saw Bichi coming with a hideous face and a sword. Fortunately, Shiji drew his sword, which blocked the fatal blow. But what followed? What came was Biki's even crazier continuous. In the face of such a crazy attack, Shiji gradually fell into a disadvantage. I was so angry but powerless to do anything. I could only watch Bichi roar in vain, seeing that Shiji was bullied by Baichi so much. But he has no power to fight back. He could only be firmly suppressed. I could no longer control my inner tension. I cried out in frustration. At this moment, I saw a flash of light in Shiga's hand. Dazzling and dazzling. Bichi was flashed back repeatedly. Suddenly, Shiji shouted, "Now!" A light door suddenly appeared behind the bitch, forcibly pulling Bichi inward. Shiji followed without hesitation and rushed into the light door together. All this happened too suddenly. In an instant, I was the only one left in the field, confused in the wind. I heard a voice from the light door saying, followed by a series of cracking sounds, like the cracking of ice. Then I heard Bichi shout, "Lingxi, you will pay for your stupidity." Hearing the sound coming from the light gate, and the cracked light gate in front of me, it seemed that it was a success. I finally sat down on the ground with a sigh of relief. I couldn't help but sigh that it was finally over. What a mess. The interworld race to eat chicken finally has nothing to do with me. Wait, why do I feel like I'm missing something? No. Come back. How could I take things and not return them? My name is Wu Yao. I was just an ordinary college student. As a straight man, I was destined to be isolated from girls until the appearance of this girl. My life was completely changed. I was first humiliated by the spider girl. Then I was taken to the sky by the wind girl. I was even suffocated by the snake woman. All this is because of my damn special soul. Witches obtain weapons by extracting souls. And my soul is so powerful to extract a peerless sword. That's why I'm sought after by many beautiful women. But luckily, sister, she is a kind witch. After a battle, Zij had to risk opening the gate tunnel. He risked his life to pull the spider girl into the portal and destroyed the tunnel after entering the gate, completely cutting off the connection between the worlds. Unfortunately, Shiji took away my middle soul in a hurry. That was my fundamental comfort as a man. Just as I roared at the disappearing boundary gate, I don't know which shameless person kicked me in the ass. Before I could react, I directly fell into the boundary gate. I don't know what the author was thinking. Anyway, it directly tore my clothes apart when I was falling. The clothes were torn, but the landing was so noisy. That's right, not surprisingly. She, G, and I were discovered as soon as we came out. The guy who found us also brought swordsmen over, and at this time, I was lying on the ground naked. When I woke up, I found that nothing was missing from my body. I was about to run away, but I was stopped by a group of female soldiers. "You can stop me? Why did you think I was a pervert just because I was holding Shiji? I was saving people. I'm a pervert, so be it. But what do you mean by kicking me in the face? I can tolerate all these, but why did you tie me up and use such a shameful method to analyze me? Well, I can accept the analysis. Could you please save some face for me when reporting? Just say, I'm full of aura and didn't mention the Genchi." The elder later was also a weirdo. He was afraid that my aura would be discovered by foreigners and bring danger to his own race. He directly took out a spirit locking ring to lock me. The city elder sister even said one wasn't enough. The elder was really stingy, while saying that I was, and said I was a divine beast, brought back by she. Until my middle soul turned into this. Sister, can you have some humanitarian spirit? This will kill people. After hearing my complaint, the silly elder sister held a weapon and gritted her teeth at me. Touching her sister will cost you. Seeing such an irrational silly big sister, I hurriedly shouted, "Don't be impulsive, I can explain." Seeing that the silly big sister finally calmed down, I said slowly that I actually wanted to save Shiji. Since Shiji is fine, can you let me go? Who knows before I finished. The silly girl became impulsive again. She kicked me right in a vital point. "Sister, can you put down your little cutie? Let's talk about it." "Don't come. I can still explain. Don't be impulsive." Fortunately, Shigie arrived in time to save me. Otherwise, my friend would be in danger. Wait, what did you mean by, I can't go back? I heard she said that the two-world passage was completely destroyed, and the gate was broken, so I can't go back. Seeing my pitiful appearance, the elder quickly explained that it was only temporary, and we will rebuild the boundary gate before it's fixed. You can rest here for a while. Then he grabbed my wrist again, saying that you have passed through the gate. Your foundation has probably been severely damaged, and you can't use your strength. Shiji, you take Wu around, and we'll prepare foundation building medicated
Although
diets
you have
for
abundant
him,
spiritual
but you
energy,
have no true key. If you don't build foundation, your body will be vulnerable in the spirit world. Looking at my distant back, the silly big sister said she would stay and obediently listen to us. But the elder said it doesn't matter if he doesn't listen. As long as he can breed enough spiritual bodies for our race is enough. Zij was obviously
walking
moved
on the street
by my act of following him. Moved? I just went along with it and didn't reveal the truth. The fact that I was kicked here, looking at the shy Zij, and walking on the streets of this world, it feels pretty good. Mainly, there are all beautiful women here. I was the only male. At this time, at the end of the street, the silly sister shouted that the medicated diet was ready, looking at the delicious dishes in front of me. Although I wonder why I was left alone to eat. But I couldn't resist the temptation of the food. I ate it with big mouthfuls. What's going on? Is there something wrong with this dish? When I was weak and knelt on the ground, I looked up. What's going on? What are you doing? What does it mean to be tricked? What's the experience of crossing to another world in a biofilm? My name is Wu Yao. Just now, I was kicked into the channel to the other world. To cater to the author's bad taste, I became a naked traveler. Others have super cheats when they cross over. But I was arrested as a hooligan. I was tied up by a group of beauties after being caught and endured humiliation that I shouldn't have endured at my age. Fortunately, the misunderstanding was to soothe my young heart. The elder of the Lingji clan decided to use medicated diet to help me, a weak cultivator. I was too young. My foundation. I never expected that the medicated diet was a trap. At this time, I had no ability to resist and could only be at her mercy. The silly big sister even asked me to cooperate. She said, if I could cooperate to cultivate enough spirits and enough swords, then in this racial war, the Lingji clan would be the one to survive. After hearing the silly big sister's words, some bad images immediately appeared in my mind, with my heart-wrenching howl. A burst of energy broke out of my body. Those who were wrapped in this energy, including the fool, seemed to have all their strength sucked away. But the beauties seemed to enjoy that feeling, and each of them was intoxicated. Looking at the claws reaching out to me, I could only calm down by reciting chemical formulas. Fortunately, Ji, standing outside, heard my screams. In a hurry, he pushed open the tightly closed door. I saw a look of hopelessness on my face, and the sluts who were running amok around me. Seeing Ji, I felt like seeing a savior. I shouted wildly, Shigi. But he didn't know. Shigi directly closed the door of hope and hid outside. Seeing Shiji leaving me, I was completely desperate. In desperation, I burst out with a powerful force and bounced away the beauties around me. Seeing the opportunity, I grabbed my clothes and ran away. But obviously, the silly big sister didn't mean to let me go. In the dark night, I was trying to save my innocence. I ran as fast as I could, and behind me were a group of devils, led by the silly girl. Chasing after me, I turned around and ran to the corner of the street. I jumped over a 3-meter-high wall and landed safely. At this time, I didn't have the mood to be surprised. My agile body, I could only huddle in the corner, trembling with fear, praying not to be caught. I, outside the wall, focused on finding a hiding place, but didn't notice the changes inside the wall. I saw that under the feet of the girls, A layer of faint black fog suddenly appeared and quickly spread. But at this time, I couldn't notice these. I just wanted to hide in the tower as soon as possible to avoid the crisis. But at this time, Shiji was already inside the tower, was telling the elder the unacceptable fact. The so-called restoration of the boundary gate were all lies to reassure me. Of course, I didn't hear these words, because they had already discovered me when I pushed the door. After entering this tower, like a library, I was sneaking around looking for a hiding place. I was suddenly startled by the sound behind me. I saw the elder suddenly appear, asking why I came here. Is it because the foot swordsman didn't entertain me well? Only then did I realize that it was all arranged by the elder. But at this moment, the elder pulled the Shiji beside him and said, saying that you prefer she to accompany you. How could it be no? I vaguely remember when I was a child with only my mother, watching her deal with all kinds of men every day. Because of this, I was always bullied and humiliated by the children around. Whenever this happened, Pepe would come to my rescue, while being moved. I often think of my mother's words. You are the winner among many racers. She is the most precious thing to my mother. So I decided to share my most precious thing with Pepe. The result is predictable. I lost my only friend. I won't make the same mistake again. After listening to me, the elder was very disapproving. He said coldly that aura is an inner reaction. Your spiritual energy is all pervasive. Come on, release your true self. But just as I was about to completely break down, the door was suddenly knocked open. I saw the silly sister rushed in a very embarrassed way. Before I could react, she fell headfirst in front of me. Weakly said, "Run away."